A very warm good evening to all the ripeners and to all those who are viewing us right now. A pyar bhara namaskar from the proud president of Rotary Club of Thane Central, and also takes a lot of pride in representing a lot of Rotary clubs that have become a co-host with us in the journey. So before coming in the way of the ripeners, actually bridging the distance with their emotional intelligence and their intellect and their social quotient, when we tap that with cyber security and cyber wisdom, I will be presenting to you a very good news. We have an illustrious personality with us, Dr. Harish Shetty. I am sure all of you have heard his name. I'm sure all of you have known about his work, especially the parents. And the parents, I'm sure, confident, they're very happy to know Dr. Harish Shetty is on our panel on the subject of emotional intelligence and cyber wisdom. So I present to you Dr. Harish Shetty. As we all know, Dr. Shetty कोई भी introduction के मोहताज नहीं है, but then I will be giving out a short introduction for him and will not be in the middle of yours and Dr. Shetty's conversation. In the meantime, in case you have any queries, discussions, you can keep on writing in the YouTube and Facebook comments. We will moderate that after Dr. Shetty's session. And to all of you, dear ripeners, Dr. Harish Shetty is a psychiatrist with extensive experience in the field of mental health, especially in connection with disasters. He has worked at Latur in 1992-93 for a year, at Kandla after the cyclone for a year, evaluated the psychosocial processes at Jabalpur and Gujarat after the earthquake for human rights group, and also worked at Gujarat after the last riots for 6 months. This was an invitation of Amritaben Patel, then head of NDDB. Dr. Shetty has worked extensively with the youth and works with not just an but several educational institutions, I must tell you. And we are really proud that Dr. Shetty has given out an extensive work, not just only in research, but also on field implementation in the field of mental health, emotional health. He has also taken out various litigations before the honorable courts, also motivated the society in coming together, coming to consciousness about the cyber wisdom, about emotional health, has pioneered and championed a lot of initiatives. But on Dr. Shetty's command, I'm keeping the introduction very, very, very brief, and I will hand over the baton in the hands of Dr. Shetty before all of you. Over to you, Doctor.
Hi guys, Namaskar to every student here and to every parent. Congratulations, students, for bearing it all during the lockdown, for listening to your parents amidst difficulty, for obeying the lockdown and helping your parents and the family cope. You have been awesome across the last 2 years. My dear children, congratulations also for being tolerant to your teachers online. It's not easy for them at all. They have 4 institutions in their homes. They have a school, they have an office, they have a playground for their own children who play box cricket inside their homes, and they have a restaurant. And I really congratulate you, my dear children, my dear students, for bearing with our teachers across the last 2 years. And you have been great counselors to your parents in difficult times. You have refused to buy the pizza, you have eaten what came on the plate. Though with difficulty, there were quarrels, but that's part of life. But you have been so tolerant, so wise. You have hid from the virus in the bunker, but not hid from life. My deepest condolences, my dear students, for those who have lost their lives, maybe your friends' parents, your friends' uncles, your acquaintances' parents, your friends, and others. My deepest condolences. My best wishes to everybody who has had COVID infection in your families for a speedy recovery, for a complete recovery. And My humble request to each one of you on the screen to see to it that you all take your vaccines and don't avoid your vaccines at all. With this, I thank all parents for being here on the show. You have shown great resilience. India will shape the future of the world. And though we are a young nation and $1 billion sandwich, we are going to shape the future of Mother Earth. Thank you for being here. Let me start by paying obeisance, paying my namaskar to two great mental health professionals. One is Patanjali, who gave us yoga, and the other is Gautam Buddha, who gave us mindfulness and vipassana. Well, many of our children don't know who Patanjali was. Also, because Indian philosophers, Indian scientists do not talk about their discoveries. They say this is what we learned across centuries from other rishis. Patanjali never talked about yoga. Yoga is popular, but Patanjali is not. That's the secret of Indian wisdom. So I start with paying my obeisance. I start by saying that I am really grateful to these two great human beings who were born on this side of the earth and have given so much to everybody on this planet. Having said this, let me go ahead and share with you my thoughts on emotional wealth and cyber wisdom. Now, when I say emotional wealth, remember, emotional wealth is by far more important than financial wealth. If you're emotionally wealthy, you will be able to manage a lot of hurdles, climb a lot of mountains, metaphorically, and manage a lot of struggles. And those who are not emotionally wealthy and emotionally exhausted across their life will not be able to do as much, even if they have acquired degrees, certificates, and knowledge. Now, let's look at young boys and girls, let's look at emotions. Okay. I still remember this young boy, he was very angry at his parents because they screamed at him in front of his friends and relatives on the open day of school. And he was so angry that he stopped talking to them. They brought him to me. मेरे सामने बैठे थे. My student friend just looked down and did not actually look up at all. He just kept quiet. I asked the parents to wait outside. And then I apologized to the young boy on behalf of his parents. They too had apologized at home, but that did not work. I apologized again, and he slowly lifted his eyes, and my eyes met his eyes. He said, Uncle, I'm very angry. They do that all the time. I feel very, very angry at this. I do not shout at them in front of their own relatives. They can tell me if I'm wrong in private. I said, I completely agree. But I asked him one important question. And that question is, how will you deal with this anger, my young boy? What will you do? You have many choices. One choice which you have already chosen is to keep quiet. Go into a room, protest silently, and allow the anger to be converted into a mammoth fire, a mammoth volcano inside. That's one choice which you have chosen. The other choice you have is to tell your parents, I want to talk to you, my dear parents. Will you listen to me? Then you have another choice of breaking things and making your anger be felt by your parents and others. You have another choice by pretending as if nothing has happened and just continue your life as if nothing has happened. The last choice will convert the entire event into a time bomb which can explode somewhere else, and it also can explode inside your body. The second last choice, where you would want to actually break things, will convert your anger into aggression and aggression into violence. Unhealthy. Both these choices are unhealthy. The third last choice is to ask your parents that I would want to talk to you. And my dear parents, when a young boy or a girl tells you that I need to talk to you, do not say that I am your parent, I know more. Simplest minds are the most profound, and wisdom can come from anywhere. But the child has a right to share his feelings. And young boy or young girl, if you sit down, look into the eyes of your parents and say, I was so angry at you, my dear mom, my dear dad, आई बाबा, मला एवढं राग आला, मुझे इतना गुस्सा आया, पता नहीं तुमने ऐसा क्यों किया, मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आया, मुझे खराब भी लगा, I felt sad, I felt upset, I felt like running away. Normal child, he is aware of his anger. He has the courage to express his anger in a very healthy way. It might take a long time to come to this stage. But those children who are aware of their feelings and are able to manage it in a very healthy way become CEOs, MDs, prime ministers. And those who do not know how to manage their anger become managers because they explode. They feel nice when they explode. They feel powerful when they explode. But what they do is destruction outside and destruction inside. Emotional regulation, equanimity and samanta may look like Greek and Latin to you young boys and girls. I completely empathize. But parents know about it. But just telling your children to be empathic, telling your children to regulate their feelings, telling them about equanimity will not work. Never works. It's like one parent telling telling his own child, I do yoga, you should do it. Does it work? No. It only works when that yoga changes the person and the person is compassionate, empathic, and suddenly people around him start changing and accepting yoga as a way of life. So, my dear young boys and girls, when you can express your anger after being aware of it, and even if you express it in a loud decibels, even if your pitch is a little high, but sharing it is your right. And my dear parents who are listening to the show, when children share their feelings, there is bonding. They bond with you. Feeling से feeling टकराए तो दिल डूबा जाए. And then they bond with you. But if the child says, you're a horrible mother, you're a horrible father, and when they use the word horrible as an adjective, there is distance. Feeling से feeling टकराए तो दिल डूबा जाए. आजा प्यारे साथ हमारे काहे घबराए. The fear goes down, the trust improves. So my dear friends, improving emotional wealth and becoming emotionally intelligent is being first aware of your feelings. Is that easy? It may not be. It may not be. But you know what? You may say I'm an old-fashioned man. I'm not. I'm aware. And I feel so sorry that young boys and girls have never been taught practice of yoga and meditation at the age of 3. You might get bored listening to this. But if you're able to start little yoga from the age of 3, a yoga is meant from the age of 3 till you live on this earth. It's not a retirement benefit plan or for housewives. Oh, American Navy, they have told their sailors on the ships, on the warships to do yoga. And Americans can do it, you can. So if you're able to do yoga and you'll be able to actually share your anger in a very healthy way, most of the time, sometimes you might explode because you're human beings. And so awareness of feelings, will give you a lot of emotional wealth, a lot of emotional energy to deal with your thinking and transact your knowledge and your gyan on the earth at any point of time in life. You'll be able to manage teams much better. Having said this, let me go to the next emotion. I still remember this young girl. She felt so sad when her grandfather expired due to COVID. Very, very sad. And the family was busy taking care of each other, and they ignored this child because they felt ये तो बच्चा है, ये संभल जाएगी, इसको क्या पता है क्या हुआ. But she was never attended to. She felt very sad. In the online class, she shared that with the teacher. The teacher shared that with me, and I could connect with the child through her cell phone. And she said, I feel so sad that my parents do not check on me. They are all very sad and they're sharing it among themselves. They believe that I, as an 11-year-old girl, may not understand what happened. And she shared how she felt. She shared everything about her grandmother, her grandfather. A grandmother passed away, grandfather was alive. And I said, I need to talk to your parents. And for the first time, I made the parents aware that sadness is a feeling which plants also feel. Insects also feel, animals also feel, your parrots, your dogs, your cats also feel, and your kid is also feeling. Make her part of the family when you all share your sadness together. Sadness is a positive emotion, depression is a negative state, my dear friends. And when she became part of the family, she hugged her father and mother, she wept, and she then felt understood. It's so important to be aware of sadness. Some people say, I do not feel sad at all. I attend a lot of happiness workshops. There is nothing like happiness continuously 24 by 7, 365 days a year. Emotions are like ragas of Indian classical music. They come and go without reason. You might feel sad without reason too. You might feel happy without reason. You might feel angry without reason because emotions follow the rules of Indian classical music. They're like different ragas. But I cannot forget this 15-year-old boy who felt sad because he did not have an iPhone. 11, they said. I didn't know what is 11. They said, now 12 is also there. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. And then, and he really was crying. And when the father asked him, why are you crying? He said, everybody has an iPhone 11. And I don't have one. I can't use this old phone of yours. The father did not know what to do. And they come to psychologists and psychiatrists because we are Mandolika Bacha. I'm joking. I'm talking in a very lighter way. What I actually meant is that a listening ear from somebody outside the family sometimes helps children understand what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. No right and wrong, appropriate and not appropriate. Which means even a friend, even an uncle, even a teacher, even a tuition teacher, even a neighbor, even a maid servant. There are so many children who share everything with their maid servant because they've been living with the child for a very long time. Then all three of them came and sat there. And I found that the child actually felt very lonely because he did not have the phone which others had. And my dear children who are listening to this show, remember one thing. Self-esteem is not about what you have. Self-esteem is all about what you are. But how do you achieve that? And that I think is very important. So I asked him gently, and I said, what happened? He said, everybody makes fun of me because I don't have an iPhone and I feel very bad. I understand that my parents cannot afford it, but I felt very bad when they made fun of me. I said, how did you feel? I said, he felt very sad and he was crying. I held him by his hand. The mother and the father started crying. I said, so beautiful. Tears are important in life. God has not given you two big tear glands to just store and not use it at all. And the mother said, I'm very sorry, I'm crying in front of you. I said, do you apologize when you laugh? You don't. And then slowly, as we listened to the child completely, with jerks he was crying at the age of 15 and slowly calmed down as he shared everything from the deepest crevices of his heart. He calmed down and he said, I think this is not a big thing. This is not a big thing at all. I play a lot of sports. I have a lot of other friends. I will I will tell myself that I have other friends. Accessories don't give me my self-esteem. What I am makes me feel nice. And what am I? And he said something very beautiful. He said, I share my tiffin with others. When my mother cooks something great, and other friends also ask me to bring something very favorite which they like. And I sit and share, and we all, 4 or 5 of us, other friends, sit and eat. I said, those kids who have really made fun of you are not bad. That is their point of view at that point of time. And if you are calm, you'll find they're coming back to you and not making fun of you. And maybe if there was somebody who's a bully and who's very aggressive, because bullies have very poor self-esteem and who need help all the time, it could be a different story. And slowly he calmed down. And he also told me that he was so ashamed to bring his phone out in front of everybody, and now slowly calmed down. Sometimes when you're sad because of little things, you might have to go behind the story, because, my dear parents, behind the behavior is a story, and behind the story there are many more stories. There could be many more stories. So one story was like this, similar. It was about the laptop or the phone, I don't remember. But then I found that the mother in the family did not respect what they had in the house. Your home is a little universe, part of the bigger universe, little chip of the bigger universe. And let me tell you, my dear friends, if you respect your little universe, though aspiring to have a bigger house and bigger things, no harm at all. But respect what you have. When parents respect what they have, children respect their environment. And when children respect their environment, they don't feel low about what they have. And when they don't feel low about what they have, they are not affected by peer pressure or beer pressure. So important to respect our little universe. Whatever fridge you have, whatever table you have, whatever the size of your house, the shape of your car, or the amount in the bank. Respect what you have, your little universe, and then you'll be connected to the bigger universe in a much better fashion. It works on children big time. Any mother or father saying, oh my God, 40 years in Bombay, 30 years in Bombay, I couldn't achieve as much. Be happy with what you've achieved and aspire for more. And when parents become bloomers and not blamers, children get good emotional wealth, enough emotional wealth, and their emotional intelligence is really built. Let me tell you one more thing, my dear friends. There was a little girl at the age of 10 telling her mother, don't cry. Because the mother was crying because her husband passed away. And the entire family said, Abhi rone ka kyun? Tum roge to kuch mood kharab ho jata hai. And the kid took that lesson from the extended family and used to tell, I had to break that jinx. And I would tell the daughter, let your mother cry for the loss of her husband. No harm at all. She's normal. And if you cry, it's perfectly normal. So respect tears as much as you respect laughter. Sadness is a positive emotion. Depression is a negative state. And as you look at all this, sometimes young kids get very scared. All of us are scared about the future. Parents are scared about what will happen tomorrow. Uncertainty. Job hoega kya nahi? And they are so scared. I still remember this little girl, 9th standard, came running to me because she was very scared about what will be her average marks in the 10th standard after the exam got cancelled. Now now results are out. And she said, I want to really pursue my dream. And another 12th standard boy also came and said, my dreams are interrupted because of the pandemic. I'm very scared. I said, my dear girl, nothing is interrupted. Remember, sometimes dreams are postponed. It happened during the World War I and the World War II. It happened during the partition of the country. It happened during the time when your family was facing a deep financial crisis or a health crisis. Sometimes we have to postpone our dreams. Life is never linear, my dear parents and my dear children. Indian parents, sometimes, I'm sorry to say this, एक वर्ष सुटायचं नाही, एक साल भी बिगड़ना नहीं चाहिए. काय को यार, कुछ नहीं होता है. Gap year is all right in the right circumstances. If the child is not in a mood to do something on a year, take a break. Let him work somewhere as an intern. Let him learn a lot of courses. Nothing wrong. Protect your dream, postpone your dream, preserve your dream, fear goes down. And when fear goes down, what also happens is a new dream comes up in your mind. So, my dear parents, when you have to look at emotional wealth and emotional intelligence and cyber wisdom, remember, say three things to your children all the time. Number one, life is beautiful. You are awesome. Exams are easy. Even if you don't believe it, start saying it, because when you start saying it, you start believing it slowly. नहीं नहीं नहीं, अंदर से आना चाहिए, ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है. Sometimes बाहर से भी कहते कहते बात अंदर तक जाती है. It's so important to believe what you say. And if you say these three sentences, I've been telling my children all the time, fear goes down. Fear, sometimes some children have a lot of anxiety. And in such cases, you might have to do some anxiety management. You might have to calm down the sympathetic nervous system by relaxation exercise, by a lot of exercise, physical activity, and they will slowly calm down. If they have certain stories in their mind, they've seen violence in the family, they've seen some violence outside, they've seen some events which have been very traumatic, then they might need a counselor to remove those memories, change your memories. But I still remember this boy, 12-year-old, was very scared because he liked somebody's phone, picked it up. He was very smart, cracked the security features and sent a lot of SMSs on his friend's phone to a lot of people, and then quietly kept the phone back, and he was very scared. He said, I did something which was very wrong. I don't know what will happen. He will find out. And so there could be many incidents of fear. This was not something which was appropriate, but he did it. What will parents do at that time? Will they say, हमारे बच्चे तो ऐसे कर ही नहीं सकते हैं? Or will they say, हमारे बच्चे ने किया तो आपका कितना नुकसान है, पैसा ले लो? No, that's not the way to deal with such things. Well, when my school principal of my son told my son and told me that your son did something very wrong in the picnic, he got small liqueur bottles. And she looked at me. I said, my son is awesome, but this behavior is not appropriate, my dear teacher. You can do what you like with my son. You can give him a retribution, a reward for the behavior which is not appropriate, and you have every right to do what is right for my child. Trust your teachers completely. Most of the times they will take care of your children well. And remember, don't talk bad about your teachers in front of your children. Tomorrow your children will sign your checkbooks and will not respect you. So the teachers and the family are joint families. So fears can come with different reasons. Well, jealousy is also a normal emotion. I remember this scene from Three Idiots when their friend scored very heavy marks. I still remember this young girl, 9th standard girl from Powai. She created a false ID of a friend on the Facebook, cybercrime. and because she was jealous that girl, a friend, scored more marks than her, and uploaded it on the Facebook. Not right, no? Cybercrime, yes. And this girl was a normal girl, good girl, sportsman, good in studies, extracurricular, but she felt very jealous. She did not know how to handle the jealousy. And she did not know that the cyber guys can find out from which laptop this was done. And they traced her down and they called her. And then they asked the girl to come and see me. I looked at her. She said, I felt very jealous. I have never, ever got less marks in these three subjects across the last few years. This girl who came from some other school to our school has got more marks than me. I'm very angry at this. Jealousy is a normal emotion. As I said, anger is a normal emotion. Sadness is a normal emotion. Anger is a normal emotion. Aggression is an abnormal state. Sadness is a normal emotion. Depression is a negative state. Fear is a normal emotion. Anxiety is an abnormal state. And so, how to manage jealousy? My dear friends, it's very common. You like somebody, but she likes somebody else. And you feel so jealous. And if she likes your friend, you feel more than that. You feel jealous beyond imagination. But at that time, how will you manage it? Acknowledge that jealousy is normal, my dear young students at the age of 15, 14. If you like a girl or a boy and he or she likes your best friend, acknowledge it as normal. And go and tell your friend, I feel so jealous. I like her, but she likes you. Or I like him, but he likes you. When you acknowledge your jealousy, it dissolves. Across time, you'll experience the jealousy. And this girl who was not cyber wise did a lot of wrong things on the phone with the other girl, and then slowly one day she went and apologized, and they both became friends. So acknowledge jealousy. हाँ, मुझे जलन होती है, मुझे खराब लगता है जब कोई मुझसे ज्यादा मार्क्स ले आए, मला मला हेवा वाटते. I feel very jealous when my friend comes in a big car and I come in a small car. I feel very jealous because he looks much better than me. I feel very jealous because she is the queen in the class. No, each one of us is handsome and pretty. For good emotional wealth and emotional intelligence, remember each one is handsome and pretty. How you feel defines how you look. And if you stand in front of the mirror, thank God for creating this namuna. And if your parents would know this song from a very old movie, which I really change and I say, तारीफ करूं क्या उसकी जिसने मुझे बनाया. I mean, I really thank God for making me like this. But little complaints you can always say, थोड़ा height देना था यार, थोड़ा नाक मेरा, थोड़ा, अरे थोड़ा थोड़ा रंग यार, सोच समझ के करना था ना, भगवान क्या करते थे तुम. But if you accept your body exactly as it is, you feel so nice, so complete. Accepting your body exactly as it is gives you a very powerful sense of self-esteem. Not narcissism, not that I'm better than the worst. No, I feel so comfortable with myself and I feel in balance with others. Perfectly all right. Because life is not about muscle alone. Life is about emotional muscles and the mental muscles. So jealousy, acknowledge it. And you become emotionally strong. Acknowledge it. You become emotionally wealthy. Acknowledge it. You become a complete man. Raymond's man, no, complete woman, not Raymond's woman, but a real, near complete human being. And so, I still remember another story which is very, very important. Instagram. This girl had a boyfriend, and all her friends had boyfriends. And this girl who came to me said, I don't have a boyfriend. And they're all posting things on Instagram all the time. All the time. And I can't really post. I don't know what to say. I'm all alone. I feel so low. I feel jealous. And when she said that, and she told me that she had a boyfriend for a very short time, but they broke up. Oh, breakups are very common. They will happen in all your lives because you have to become stronger, no? You have to become stronger. 2 or 3 breakups are very common in my research below the age of 21, 22. Because breakups is all about learning to know somebody, having feelings, then finding that it's not as strong as it was and moving away. So, my dear friends, this girl said, I want to post something on Instagram, but I don't have anybody along. I can't post a picture with somebody. And she went on Instagram and she started talking to strangers. She did not know who the hell they were. She did not know their identity. She went on talking because of jealousy and sadness. And she could not share this with her parents at all. And she went around on Instagram for a long time, found some guys who sent lovely messages to her. They did not know who they were. They did not know their age. Most of the time when people, strangers who really send you all those messages, they're older than you. They may not be of the same gender as you think they are. And there are enough criminals to exploit you physically, emotionally, and mentally. And this girl, Instagram, she went chatting on FaceTime, I don't know where. And she did not know who the guy was across from a different country, she said. And she did not share this feeling of love with her parents. Biggest mistake of her life. And then what happened was she sent a nude film, a nude picture. And that guy across started blackmailing her and said, "Send me this much money, otherwise I'll tell your parents." And this continued for 6 months till she shared with a friend, not her parents. And then the friend brought her to me, and I called her parents, and I really calmed down the parents, said, "This is an accident of life. My dear parents, पुण्य और पाप नहीं होता है बच्चों में. It is appropriate behavior, inappropriate behavior. This is an accident of life, my dear parents." And they were not happy, but I calmed them down and said, children cannot choose their parents, nor can they change them. In life, you cannot choose your neighbors, your colleagues in class or in workplace, and your parents. That is kainat, which gives you. And then they could manage, they hugged the child and helped her recover. So, my dear parents, one thing for you which is very important, and that is sow the seeds of sharing bad news in your family very early. Right from the birth, if parents share their bad news easily with the children, "Arey yaar, I got a salary cut. My God, my boss fired me. I got a bad appraisal. I don't know what shit I did in the stock market. I don't know what happened to me, but I did something wrong and I lost 12 lakhs." Share your bad news early. And when parents share their bad news early, kids come and say, "Dad, I don't know, but I had a breakup. Please help me. Dad, I don't know what happened, but I failed in this exam. I never knew." But and then they will not hide, they will share the bad news. And then emotional health increases, emotional wealth increases, emotional intelligence much better. You become a rounded human being to face the world of the 20th, 21st century. Sharing bad news early is one of the biggest softwares parents can give to young children, my dear friends. And that is what is important. Aggressive parents, very dominating parents, because of their own upbringing, can destroy the lives of children. So, my dear parents, as much work as we need to do with children, equal amount of work or more work you need to do to reprogram your mind and also program your software, because you have been born in an era of reverence where you revered your parents. Children are born in an era of respect where they don't revere, they respect. They tell you openly, "This is right, this is not right. I don't agree with you." You need to change your software so that you treat your children with compassion, love, affection, and keep the dialogues in your family open. Remember, my dear parents, hitting is cheaper, but talking goes deeper. When you hit, you block the thinking of the child. Don't allow the child to dialogue, to talk, to share, to argue, and you give birth to a manager. But when you discuss and talk, remember, CEOs are not born or bred only in MBA schools. They are bred in families and schools. So sharing bad news early will really do a lot of stuff for children. Well, they say happiness. One thing I always would request parents is that learn to laugh without reason. Laugh without reason at home. Don't be very stoic and serious. Sometimes some families have this environment of basically symmetry. Serious रहोगे तो बच्चे सुनेंगे, थोड़ा हंसेंगे तो वो अपने सर पे बैठेंगे। "अरे यार, तुम्हारे बच्चे तुम्हारे सर पे नहीं बैठा तो क्या मेरे सर पे बैठेंगे? बैठने दो यार." You know what they want from you, my dear parents? Just 4 things. Emotional safety and security, the first thing. Trust is the second thing. Respect is the third, and love is the fourth, last one. What do I mean by emotional safety and security? I mean, they would want you to accept them as they are, and they would want the equation of acceptance upon expectations to be greater than 1. पता है मैंने क्या कहा? Children should feel, गलती करूंगा तो भी ठोक ठाक के ठीक करेंगे, प्यार से ठीक करेंगे, पर मुझे फेंकेंगे नहीं, मुझे छोड़ेंगे नहीं. Come what may, schools and families should believe that they are remand homes. They are correctional centers where they need to correct their children with love, compassion, and a lot of creativity, so that the children feel secure in their lives. Feeling secure is one of the most important things for emotional intelligence and building emotional wealth. My dear children, remember one thing, my dear students. When your mother gives you a glass of water when you come from school, that's a small dose of love. Acknowledge it. Look into her eyes and thank her. You need to understand one small thing, my dear parents. My country runs because of mothers, teachers, and constables. At this point of time in life, it's the mother, teacher, and the constable. When your father takes you to the doctor, in spite of the fact that he's tired from his office, holds you, that is a small dose of love. Look into his eyes and acknowledge it. Be aware of the small doses of love, my dear children. These moments are very precious. You'll remember them all their lives. And you will also understand that little drops make an ocean. These small micro doses of love actually make you a complete human being. If you experience love, you will give love to the world. If you experience love, you'll share it with everybody around. And my dear parents, remember, it's not essential कि प्यार अंदर है, बताना भी चाहिए. And even those small things, children, you should understand that in spite of all the problems your mother has, she cooks you the favorite dish. In spite of all the troubles your father has, she gets you the best teachers, the best colleges. So all this is love, and it's important for us to acknowledge every moment. As you grow up, you will recall all the small stories of your schools with your teachers, with your parents. And to be aware of this expression of love is building emotional wealth and emotional hygiene. My dear friends, let me quickly tell you, when you're having your food, screens are not your siblings. Screens are not your siblings when you're having food. If you're having food, respect the food, feel the food in all five senses, and the sixth sense is the emotion. And it's so important for parents also to not watch the news while having food. क्या कर लोगे यार, देश तो चलेगा आपके साथ या आपके बिना. So when you're having food, be very firm and strong. Indian parenting is firm parenting, thoda firm parenting, which means you can't sit in your room and have your food with your phone. Cyber wisdom, cyber hygiene. You have to come here and have my food with me. Initially they are upset, but slowly they sit. But there was one child who said, I will never sit with my parents, Dr. Shetty. Uncle, don't tell me that. I go away because when I sit, they start the long pravachan. पता है मैं जब छोटा था तो मेरे लिए कोई सुविधा नहीं थी, and I don't want to hear all this. Agreed, my dear son. Agreed, my dear student. You should not be listening to all this. And my dear parents, listen to me. आपने उनको मौका दिया है, माहौल भी देना जरूरी है. मौका and माहौल, Kranti, and then you'll find your children becoming emotionally resilient, emotionally wealthy, and emotionally intelligent. So, children, no TV, no screens, no phones while munching. No, 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 no. Also, remember, my dear friends, ask yourself whether you want to play with your fingers or hands and legs. This is very seductive. This is very addictive, extremely addictive. Because the innovations in technology is much higher than innovations in human conversation. But even if you have a small compound in the house, run around the compound. If you find that you're not allowed to play football because certain cars will get damaged. I know some people are very fond of the cars, but they're not fond of children playing in the compound. Take a cycle and run around. Take a ball and think you're Messi and just go around. And sometimes you can't play because other friends are not available at the same time because their tuitions are different, your tuitions are different. But even if you're alone, exercise, play with your hands and legs, and not only on computer, CS or Call of Duty, COD or whatever. No. Cyber wisdom is also about using your hands or legs and not your fingers. And if you use your fingers and not your hands and legs, you'll need a stick when you're old. If you use your hands or legs, you'll be able to lift your grandson when you're old, in your arms without any pain. And when you play with your hands and legs, what happens is also something which is very important. Neurons multiply in the brain, which means neurogenesis takes place. Synapses get connected. Brain is all about connections. More connections happen between the neurons. More connections, more neurons, more effective the human being is. Much wiser. Ultimately, what we have to do is do the best with what we have, and God has given you 1200 grams of brain. We need to do the best with what we have, and sleep and exercise, physical exercise helps neurons to multiply. Games do not allow neuron to multiply, though some guys have quoted some small researches where they say it improves attention, etc., etc. But I strongly say that there is no substitute to physical play. Playing with your fingers is never a substitute for physical play. Now you'll say pandemic में कुछ नहीं हुआ, अरे काय का कुछ नहीं हुआ, खेलो यार घर के अंदर बॉक्स क्रिकेट. India beat Germany today 5-4 in hockey. Do something inside, run around the thoda. If there's something, things break in the house, perfectly all right. We don't want a perfect house. An imperfect house is a happy house. An imperfect kitchen is a happy mother. When everybody is in the kitchen, it's a happy family. So neurons multiply, synapses get connected, and the body is an orchestra. And all organs, every organ is a musician. And then what happens when you actually exercise is the organs play the orchestra properly, there's music, and otherwise it is noise. Memory improves and emotional regulation is much better. Along with that, remember, sleep, my dear friends, my dear children. Being on the phone till 2 o'clock, depriving you of sleep, and you feel nothing's going to happen to you. Yeah, at this stage, you might feel you can manage it. But let me tell you one thing, my dear friends, it's a prophecy for you today. If you deprive yourself of your sleep, your organs will go into a protest mode and they'll destroy your body. What happened 40 years ago at the age of 65 will happen at the age of 35. So sleep and exercise. So I said, better be naive and be away from the screen instead of posting something nude. Speak to people whom you know. No would not be no on the screen. You know personally, know live. Know yourself, know those friends because they are from your school. They're from your cousins, they're your family, they're your uncles, aunties whom you know. And when you talk on the screen with anybody, and if you don't know the person, you don't know the sex of the person, the gender of the person, the age of the person. You want to play cricket or computer strike? You might play computer strike occasionally. I'm not against playing games occasionally. But remember that physical activity has to be more than screen activity. And sometimes those who are extremely engaged in the phones have a reason. If there's a difficult family or difficulty in studies, they gravitate towards the screens all the time. So we need to address the problem and not only the addiction. Well, a lot of boys and girls I've seen suffer from DGP syndrome. Games, drugs also are sent across the phone that if you want this drug, it's available here. So drug, games and phones sometimes go hand in hand when you are very addicted to the screen. And that is extremely important. My dear friends, my friend Sonali Patil told me this in the morning. She runs the NGO responsible netism. And she said, just as you understand your mother or your father, you know your mother, you know when to go close to her, when to be away, when she's fuming, you know exactly what to say, what not to say. Understand similarly your gadget, when she should use, how much you should use, what you should use for, what games you can play, what videos can you see. Tell yourself, understand your gadget. See that your securities are intact. That's what Sonali Patankar told me. She also said that don't transact online ever. Let your parents do it. And don't sync your credit cards with your gaming. And you build your profile with your security intact. My dear friends, as I stop and I take your questions, if Advocate Ghule actually allows me, I would like to summarize. 21st century or any century, the journey inward is as important as the journey outward. I know we are going to become global citizens, but becoming globally wise without being locally sensitive, you need to know a lot of about a country, as much as you know all about the world. Of course, Vasudev Kutumbakam is part of our tradition. And so, my dear friends, let there be a sense of belonging. When you start respecting your parents, respecting good behavior of your parents. Don't respect anybody blindly. Your parents, of course, remember one thing, you can never choose your parents, and parents cannot ever choose their children. So start having a sense of belonging with your parents. Celebrate festivals with your cousins. Even if there is a problem in your family, you tell yourself, मैं नफरत के वारिस नहीं बनूंगा. Be connected to the bigger world by having small connections, your school friends, your teachers, your family, your cousins, your community, etc. Don't remain isolated. And along with that, you have to have the K factor to complete your road to being emotionally intelligent, emotionally wealthy, and emotionally. And the K factor is the kindness factor, which means, my dear friends, you are privileged, but everybody is not. Look around, and if you can do something for somebody, teach a child who's dyslexic mathematics if he has taken mathematics. Teach a child who's autistic if he's struggling with a subject. Save your pocket money, help somebody study or buy books or pay fees. Start that K factor very early, not late in life. A lot of Indians achieve, earn, and then they believe that they should give back to the society. No, partnership with God has to be from day one. Because then, if you have achieved a lot and if you want to give, it's basically guilt or basically an existential dilemma. Partnership with God has to start from day one. And the kindness factor will make you a complete human being. With this, I thank you, friends, for being there on the screen with me. All the young boys and girls, India is on the threshold of a great tomorrow, and you are the architects. I have tremendous faith in this generation. And my dear parents, for all the struggles you have undergone to make your kid the way they are. My dear parents, sleep well. It helps your mental health. My dear parents, laugh even if your thali has half chapati. My dear parents, be kind to each other. There's only one life, and take care of your friends. Let there be a lot of equanimity in your families. I wish you a great life and good mental health. Thank you, Advocate Gulle, and thank you, Rotary Club of Thane.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty. It was so refreshing to hear from you. And also, you did touch a lot of aspects of Indianness. You did touch a lot of aspects of, being kind to one another, embracing one another's thoughts. Also, you spoke on the power of choices. And may I tell you, Doctor, this year Ripen is Rotary Youth Program of Enrichment. We have come up with a theme since this year we have going nationally, touching and inviting a lot of students nationwide and even few of them internationally joining us for this self-paced deferred program for 2 weeks and perhaps even available later on if they are registered on time. So you did speak on power of choices. We will be taking up few questions soon, but then before that, you did speak on power of choices, and here we are with the theme of bridging the distance. So when we speak of power of choice, we are also asking you how to bridge the distance between the emotion and the mind. दिल कुछ कहता है, दिमाग कुछ कहता है, तो उसके बीच बीच का जो distance है, how do we bridge it? Can doctor tell us something about it?
Well, there are three things. I want a Mac Air. My friend has a Mac Air, and I want a Mac Air because my friend has. But I know, heart of hearts, I don't need one. I have a laptop which my father gave me. It's an old one. Then there's a war in the mind and the heart. And our emotion says, I need to be equal to everybody. The mind says, not right. The thought says, I should be kind to my parents first before wanting me to feel equal with others. And then as the struggle goes on, the struggle is very important for us to have a decision, get to a decision. And no struggle, no decision. Allow the struggle to happen between your mind and your heart. And sometimes you may not be able to make a decision. You fight with your father in the morning, in the evening you go and sit with him and have dinner. And this struggle goes on. If you cannot make a decision, sleep over it. So janega. Ugly, then you find an answer. And let your mind and your heart integrate one beautiful answer which will help you evolve as a good human being, It will help you to be connected to your family. And when you're connected to your family, you're connected to the earth, and you can go and tell your friends, my dear friends, my dad has a laptop which I'm using. It's perfectly, it's functioning, it's functioning. I taught my children this in my own family. And I really always tell children, respect what you have. Then you'll find peer pressure or beer pressure does not affect you.
Wonderful, doctor. And as you were talking about sharing is caring, but sharing is also about bonding. And what is and where can it be an appropriate place of sharing? We also remarked a very peculiar comment, rather not a query, but a comment from Miss Sujata Lokhande. She says that you clear all taboos, and that's where I come and go over in the hindsight into your comment about appropriate sharings and what exactly, because it was so natural on your part to address queries and address issues which are so material today, but the parents, because of the age gap or the generation gap, are finding it difficult to speak about cybersecurity, about girlfriend boyfriend issues, which are so natural in the age group that we are catering to. However, there is a taboo between the parents and the children to talk about it. Could you elaborate more on it?
Yeah, do not be very permissive nor be very feudal and regressive. I'll give you an example. A boy comes and tells his father, Dad, I have a girlfriend. Father says, अरे तेरे को तो एक ही है, मेरे जमाने में मेरा चार था. माँ कहती है तुम ये बच्चों को ये सब सिखाते हो. दादा आते हैं, वहाँ कहते हैं पढ़ाई और पहलवानी की उम्र होता है बेटा, ये सब मत करो. So there are three different views. I tell the father, do not brag about your life, and learn to respect the other sex, other gender. And if you have learned from your experiences, and if you have the navneet or the ghee essence from the milk, share that essence. Do not be permissive. And what you're saying when you are do charta is, you are saying, what you're saying, telling you bindas ka jo hota hai hone do yaar, aur अच्छा नहीं लगा तो छोड़ दे, कोई चिंता नहीं, तू तो शेर है. No, no, no. That's the message you give. And the mom, when she says छोड़ दो ये सब बकवास है, ये ठीक नहीं है, she's saying I'm very scared beta, if you actually have a breakup, then I don't know how to handle you. That's what she's saying. Concern and love. And the dada comes and says, yes, ye umar ka nahi. The three different generations, and it's perfectly normal. Generation gap will always exist, and it's necessary, because if you have a gap, there'll be freedom. If you have a gap, there'll be evolution. If you have a gap, there'll be new thinking and new creativity. What is it that we need to do? We need to allow the child to share what he thinks about love. Let him share and respect what he says. Don't make fun of him. ये मत कहो अरे यार ये तो तुम्हारा क्रश है यार, ये तो infatuation है. Love comes in small doses. 10 rupees prepaid, 1 month prepaid, lifetime prepaid. Respect what he says. When you respect what he says, he comes closer to you. Then you can actually tell him, yes, my dear friend, my dear son, you don't fall in love, you rise in love, which means your studies should improve, your concentration should improve, and both of you should actually do well, because if both are fond of each other, you'll be in a good mood to do a lot of things together. Don't talk about caste. आ जैन छे कि वैष्णव छे, कोंकणस्थ आहे की देशस्थ आहे, शेण कुळी आहे का काय आहे, हे सगळं बोलायचं नाही. हे सगळं first love doesn't last too long, and if it lasts, doesn't last. But respect the love. When you respect the love, if something happens between them, they'll come and tell you, Daddy, what has happened is I don't know what, she stopped talking to me. And then you know to intervene. You allow them to share little, they'll come and share back, but don't use it against them, my dear parents. तू प्रेमाचं बोलत होता, हे मार्क्स बघ, शेण खा शेण. No, don't use that information which they have shared confidentially against them. Don't do that. Respect their love. Let them talk. And let the three generations coalesce. And the fourth generation is the son. The son will find an answer. We find space and time inside the family to share. That, I think, is the answer. There's no correct answer. But remember, my dear children who are listening, love has birth, growth, and death. Breakup ho shakte, and breakup is not because you are bad, because love has birth, growth, and death. Sometimes they don't feel for that person after some time. No worry, but don't ever talk bad about the girl or the boy. Don't ever blame him or her. Don't abuse him or her. Don't make funny comments about her. Don't make funny comments of him. Don't spread rumors about them. Accept it. Be with your friends, weep and cry if you can, and see that your friends help you. And do not say, my dear friend, to any other friend, I told you so. For him or her, it was true love. For you, it may be very different. So, respect is more important than love with your children.
Wonderful, doctor. And on the aspect of respect, you have told us continuously how to respect the essence of jealousy, how to respect the essence of sadness. Respecting happiness comes naturally to a lot of us, but then respecting these unusual or rather uncomfortable experiences is something very unique. Also, in today's age and time, doctor, we see that respect doesn't restrict only to human interactions, but when somebody is interacting behind the screen and taking a guard of the screen and disrespecting someone perhaps, and moving on in this fashion, such crimes have become or have thrown out like a wildfire in today's days and time. And soon I will be sharing with you. We have Miss Cheryl with us from WNS Cares Foundation, who has been working on Cyber Smart Initiative, cyber security. But before that, Doctor, some insights from your end, please.
Well, many lives have been shattered uh, by being not smart, as Cheryl will know. This is a different way of spelling your name. Huh? I have friends Sheryl. It's a beautiful way of spelling this name. Beautiful. And let me tell you, boys have been sexually abused, girls have been sexually abused, and a lot of families have been destroyed. I'll request each one, each young boy or girl, use all the science available to keep yourself safe. And never ever share your picture easily. Never ever share your picture without clothes. If there's anything which you find suspicious, go back to your parents, go back to your school principal, your teacher, or your cyber security or cyber safety groups. It's just like when you have food, if you find something wrong with the food, you go back to the doctor, go back to the person where you bought the food, and don't eat the food. When you buy something from anywhere, if you find it is not right, it's not the original form, you go and fight, you go and complain. Similarly with the space, cyberspace is very seductive. It's venomous also, but remember, it's not as bad as you think you are. But a little spend 5 seconds before you type. When you're very angry, don't type. Don't type. When you actually are angry with your friend because they isolated you, don't type. Wait for one day, let it calm down, and then go and say, I'm sorry, I really insulted you, or I feel very upset because you really excluded me. And when this live chat happens, a lot of typing goes down. And if you meet with an accident, don't hide it. Come back to your parents, because your parents are from today believe that sharing bad news early is very good. If you can't share with your parents, your teachers, your principals, and people like WNS Cares Foundation and any other groups which can help you, please go ahead and do it. Don't postpone your shikayat. Don't postpone your redressal. Early redressal save you and save me.
Wow, that's wonderful. And writer on time, we have Cheryl DeCosta with us. Just before proceeding and handing over the mic to her about what and how we're going and collaborating together. Firstly, many thanks once again, WNS Cares Foundation, for joining hands with us, collaborating with Rotary Club of Thane Central and several other Rotary clubs across India, led by the initiative of Rotary District 3142. Cheryl is the Mumbai head of the WNS Cares Foundation, the location head for them. And she will be sharing with us the offline activities. This particular session is going to be a combination of online live sessions, as we all know, and few offline activities that are going to be hosted on the Telegram channel. So Cheryl is going to be hosting them. Cheryl, along with one of her partner Charles, is going to be hosting them on behalf of WCF. So over to you, Cheryl. What have you brought in for our young ripeners?
Thank you
Before she
so much.
starts,
Yes, doctor.
I would just like to acknowledge the presence of my colleague, Miss Ghazala Sheikh. She has worked with me in our NGO, and she has been conducting a lot of support groups with patients and families suffering from schizophrenia. What a wonderful profession Ghazala has been, and I'm so happy that she's part of this entire initiative. Fantastic. Thank you. Sorry, Cheryl.
Thank you, Doctor. She writes it's a lovely session from the YouTube live that she's attending. So I'm sure she's pleased with your acknowledgement. Over to you, Shed.
Firstly, a warm welcome. It was indeed wonderful from you, Advocate Gule. And Dr. Shetty, since you have spoken so much about Ghazala, let me just tell you that I report into her. So I really know she's an amazing person with deeper knowledge into this industry. And it's always, a blessing to have her, as our boss. That is the right word that I could use. And I couldn't resist myself, after hearing your session, to extend a thank you note before I could begin. So I have enjoyed every bit of your session, and it was indeed wonderful. So, Dr. Shetty, you have given us a deeper insight on emotional well-being and cyber wisdom. So I can pick up some things on what you have, started as a part of your cyber wisdom, and I can just continue to what I have planned for the next 4 days for our, the young team who is watching us today. So, firstly, let me just tell you, give you a small introduction about myself. So, good evening, everyone, for all who are watching me live here. I am Cheryl DeCosta from WNS Cares Foundation team, which is the CSR arm of WNS Global Services Private Limited. So, WNS Cares Foundation has created a holistic cyber safety learning ecosystem for education and empowerment of students, teachers, volunteers, and parents through a unique initiative called as CyberSmart. So, on the lines of what Dr. Shetty just spoke, during his session, let us all be safe in this cyber world and protect others around us who definitely need our help. So, we would like to empower each one of you as a cyber smart student and let you enjoy with us the next 4 day journey. So, let me just give you a brief plan on this exciting 4 day plan. So, our day one is going to be the 6th of August, that is tomorrow. We will be having a CyberSmart showcase video shared along with a CyberSmart portal walkthrough on how you can be a CyberSmart certified student. For that, you only need to visit our CyberSmart website and get yourself awarded a CyberSmart e-badge and an e-certificate. We have given all the instructions that will be shared with you via Telegram platform. Now about day two, which is the 7th of August. Since now you are a CyberSmart certified student for us, we have a self-paced, interesting short quiz on cybersecurity for you. So that will be part of our 7th of August journey. So day three. Day three, it's going to be an interesting one for all of you. So now that you're aware of the pros and cons of using, the digital platform, you need to create a poster. The right thing that I would like to mention here, a powerful poster on what, according to you, can be a possible cybersecurity threat. Explain the poster to your friend or a family or your family members and create a short video, an impacting video, and share it on our Rotary and WCF handles so that we can together drive this awareness among many students across on the social media platform. So this is going to be an interesting one for you on day three. Now about the day four, that is the last day of our session, which is the 9th of August, wherein we would want you to be a cyber smart cop. So the only thing that you need to do is you have to drive this awareness among 50 kids on how to be safe on a digital platform via CyberSmart portal. Once you have completed 50 kids coverage, share an email with us before 13th of August and get yourself an e-certificate. This is a special recognition as a cyber smart cop, and you will be recognized on 15th of August for the special efforts that you have taken to drive this initiative for us. So, with that note, I have come to the end of the 4 day exciting journey for you. So, this is the plan that will be shared on the Telegram platform with you by the Rotary team. So, over to you, Saloni.
Very kind of you, Cheryl, for sharing the entire process. And I must thank right from Ghazala to Cheryl and Charles, with whom I've been working closely and understanding how the Cyber Smart portal will work. But most importantly, the honorary chief mentor of WCF, Mrs. Shamini Murugesh, who has been nothing but more welcoming to the idea of collaborating in the interest of children. And Dr. Shetty was trying to say something. Please, Doctor.
Not all. I think congratulations, WNS Cares Foundation. This is the actual need of the hour, and thank you, Rotary, for inviting me. I think a lot of partnerships across the country will help our kids to be safe. A lot of awareness among parents also will help our kids to be safe. I think let your tribe multiply, and thank you, and good day. Thank you.
That's a wonderful blessing, Dr. Shetty. Thank you so much. And we really hope we have this exciting journey with all the kids who are watching us live today. So thank you so much for that. And thank you, Advocate Gule, for giving us this platform too.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I know the time is ticking. It has been an exciting conversation, and there are moments you feel like these communications, these conversations just do not come to an end. But alas, the time is not within anybody's control. I must thank Dr. Shetty for being more than happy in joining us. It was a matter of phone call explaining the idea, why Ripen, what is Rotary program of enrichment, and he said yes, I will join you. It would be very important. I must express my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for being so forthcoming into the idea, because I, for one, know how busy and how hectic his schedule operates. Even if one wants to go through his biodata, it would be exhaustive 4 pager for your students. So that is something one should really aspire to, and that is something one really needs to look up to one while one progresses in the material world. Like doctor said, if you want to grow outside, you should start growing within. So this kindness, this K factor is not something he has just taught us, but something that he has been practicing himself. Also, many thanks to WCF, WNS Cares Foundation, but not just yet. We have a long way to go of a 4 day journey with our students, and I'm sure all the students will enjoy the process. On that note, while I spoke about aspirations, there is one short announcement. Do tune in on 10th of August of this month, where Mr. Keshav Murugesh, the WNS's CEO, the global head, and past NASCOM chairman, will be joining us with a lot of stories, lot of sharings for our young ripeners, telling us how to manage your own aspirations. On that note, this is Advocate Saloni Gule, the proud president of Rotary Club of Thane Central, signing off, and best regards to all the ripeners. Do stay tuned in to the Telegram and Facebook channel for further announcements and interaction. Thank you.